Okay. All right. So let's begin. So again, it's Yoga Playlist 2 by Blair Ritchie. First song is Social Distancing. Let's get started at a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and you can press your buttons. Okay. All right. So let's start with a little seated centering. Snuggle yourself in. Draw your ears back. It's not so much that you're pulling your heart forward, but just so much that your chin is not dropping towards the floor. So your chin is kind of parallel to the mat. And then feel the collarbones beginning to slowly widen as you inhale. Feel all that space that you create. You can feel it through the front of the chest. You can feel it into the back of the shoulders. Even feel the back of the ears as you draw them back. Slightly lift up so the back of the neck is nice and long. I want you to feel as if as you press down through the three corners, or the three bones that you're sitting on, the tailbone, the sits bones, that you are lengthening the crown of the head up and away from it in a perfectly straight line. And then closing your eyes, beginning to feel the breath moving through you. Letting the breath become the most important thing in your world at this moment. And just notice where the breath travels on its own. We can take this from our meditations. Feel yourself breathing, but also be aware that you are breathing. Taking that step back. And then notice even after just a few, 2 minutes of concentrated breathing that the body starts to change. We establish a rhythm through the breath, one that is not forced, it's just part of us. And then we can start to use the breath to help soften areas of the body that love to hold on to tension. So start with your forehead. Just imagine as you exhale the forehead softening and the eyes softening. Feel the lower jaw soften away from the upper jaw. Bring your awareness to the front sheath of the torso. Feeling the breath moving from the tailbone all the way up through the crown of the head and then back again. Becoming aware of areas that may feel a little tight. And instead of passing through them, taking a little extra time to lean in. So instead of pushing off the area that feels a little, off this morning, actually holding its hand. And do the same thing to the back side of the body. So if you've been with me this week, we've been doing a lot of hip stuff. So let's start to make our way down to the floor. Roll yourself down, take away whatever you're sitting on. I'll spin. And then arms out to the side, just start to release the legs from side to side. Dropping them down on the inhale, lifting them back up. And continuing in that fashion, letting again the breath lead and noticing what's going on through the hips. then we'll do one last one, moving over to one side, and then let's all drop over to the right. And we're gonna straighten our bottom leg or our left leg, and we'll take our right leg up to the chest. And you can have your head resting on your arm if that's comfortable. You can use also a pillow or a block. And start to feel length from the inseam of your left leg all the way out through the left inner heel. And draw that right knee a little bit more towards you. Now feel that left buttock, right foot down. Left buttock tuck under a little bit more, drawing that knee a little higher up. Okay, we're going to keep the heel close in towards the bum as we take the hand off the leg, so a little bit more active work. And from here, we're going to just do some nice big circles. So try to make your circle as wide as possible, keeping the heel in towards the bum. And yeah, this isn't easy, especially the drawback. And then let's move to the second direction. Beautiful. Let's draw that knee back in. And if you want, you can hold on to the back of the leg. Let's stretch that leg up towards the sky. Now turn the heel forward, toes back towards your face. And then imagine in this pose, again, I love to imagine standing here. So you can almost see the difference between just kind of hanging, dropping, and then standing, reaching out through that bottom leg. Excellent. Let's take that foot now, we'll draw it forward, plant it in front of us. And then we'll just start to crawl ourselves up. Feel that right shoulder drop into the shoulder girdle and reach the left arm over towards that that right foot. What does it feel like maybe to sit up a little taller? What does it feel like to feel the left ribs drawing over a little bit more towards the right? Excellent. So we're just going to switch over. We're going to take that left arm, sweep it all the way up. And you can just stretch yourself out in downward facing dog. And here, I guess it's a good time to take off your socks. One of my favorite ways with a sticky mat is to just, brush them off like that. It's just fun. We're going to come to the second side. All right, so starting the lying down, I'm using a block for my head. You don't have to, you can use your arm. I'm going to take the top leg up. I'm going to reach out to the bottom leg, right from the inner groin all the way down. So lots of action here. Starting again here with this passive stretch, holding the leg in. And then seeing if you can do an active one without the hand heel coming in towards the bum. Let's do some circles. 1, 2. And so again, a few in one direction. Noticing that spot where it feels challenging, and instead of whipping through it, taking your time to get around. And then switch directions. Feel your belly drawing in. Excellent. And then we're going to draw that knee back in towards the chest. You can hold on here and you can stay here, imagining yourself standing. Or you can take hold of the foot or the back of the leg and lift that leg up. The heel comes forward, so away from the face. The toes come towards the face, and that allows you a little bit more stretch. Breathe. So for those of you that have trouble doing this pose standing up, this is the way you learn how to activate the muscles that you need to be there. And notice even when you're lying down, there's action. There's a lot of work here. All right, so let's take that foot down, press it into the floor, and just start to crawl yourself up. Press out to the inner heel. You can reach your left hand, right hand out towards that foot. Just stop saying left and right. It would make my life so much easier. This hand. Shoulder in the back, lengthen. Start to feel the right ribs drawing a little bit more towards the left or just a little deeper of a stretch through that left side of the waist. And then we're going to take that, we're going to reach all the way up and over, and once again come into a little downward facing dog. And just start to pedal up the legs here. All right, so inhale, let's come forward into plank. And as you press the floor away from you, melt the heart, press out to the heels, lengthen out to the crown of the head. Exhale, stretch yourself back. Bend your knees, lift your hips up a little higher, away from your fingers, forearms reaching up and away from you towards the front of the mat. And then let's come forward again, nice and slowly, shoulders in the back, belly in. Heart melting down, reach head and heel away from one another. And then stretch all the way back. One last time, we're coming forward. And we're gonna come all the way down to the floor. We'll start with our arms wide. And you can drop the forehead to the floor as you just start to feel the shoulders looping up and around. Again, if there's a spot that you need a little extra work in, just slow down or hold the area of hand. And then let's draw our shoulders into the shoulder girdle, press into the hands, and we'll start to roll ourselves up. Pull the hands back, start to roll yourself back down. And as you roll down, feel the tailbone reaching towards the heels, press into the feet, let the head touch. A little bit of length. Inhale, lift up. And down. Beautiful. One last time. Maybe move the arms in. And then as we exhale, we're going to slide the hands back in and come up into tabletop position. So we're going to do a little bit of the same work that we just did. If knees don't work for you, you can either come into downward facing dog, or you can do this one again. Okay? So we're going to press up. And here we are in tabletop position. So let's do a little cat and cow first. So rounding up back, pressing into the floor with your hands, toes, and knees. Pull the hands away from one another, away from the knees and the toes. Get a little deeper into that back arch, and then inhale. Pull hands and knees towards each other as you drop the belly down. And then feel your heart trying to make its way through the arms. Let's do that a few times. Go ahead, I'm just going to put my hair up because I'm getting hot. Keep going, I can see you. Take your time with it, like there's no rush here. The more we stay kind of centered in that body, the more we're going to start to feel the vertebrae moving on their own, which is really what we'd like. All right, so let's take our right leg and we're going to lift it up. Draw the heel in towards the bum, hug the left hip in towards the midline, and feel your heart melt down as the belly draws in. And let's try in this position. What does it feel like to move the leg? Is it easier? Do you remember? Switch directions. Beautiful. And then let's draw that knee in towards the nose. And we're going to stretch that leg up. Press out through the heel. So if you're in on the floor, now you can come up into downward facing dog to do this one if you'd like. We're going to reach out to the big toe. And then let's try with the big toe to create a nice circle with that leg. Melt the heart. Belly in. You can switch directions with that foot. Beautiful. Draw that knee in towards the nose again. Stretch it out. And then this time, turn the toes to face out to the side and reach that leg out. And we're going to take that foot to the floor as we come into our little cat and cow. Flossing the hips with that foot out. So in this pose, if you want, you can take the knee off the floor for a little bit more arm strength. Excellent. One last breath. And then just walk yourself down towards that right leg. And we'll sweep ourselves up into a lunge. Beautiful. Exhale, both hands back down towards that floor. Lift the leg up. Back into plank pose. Melt the heart. As we exhale, bend your knees, draw your hips back. Reach the tailbone away from the forearms. And then inhale, come all the way back, coming into plank pose, reaching from the heels out through the crown of the head, melt the heart. Let's do that again. Bend the knees, draw back, lift the sits bones up. Big stretch, and then coming forward. This time we're going to roll a little forward, and your knees can tap down if you want, as you lower down to the mat. Loop the shoulders, peel yourself up off the mat. Pull the hands back, roll yourself back down. Maybe this time you can walk your hands in a little closer. Roll up and down. One more time. And as the hands come back, we're going to again press ourselves up and into into tabletop position. Let's do a little cat and cow. Reach the heart through. Really paying attention to how the breath moves through the body in this shape. Excellent. And then coming back into neutral, belly in, let's take that left leg up. Hug the right hip into the midline, heel into the bum as we do some circles. One. So trying to make the circles nice and big. Switch directions. Beautiful. Let's draw the knee in towards the nose. We're going to stretch that leg out and reach out through the crown of the head, point to the toe. And just do some circles with that foot. It's not easy to create really round circles with that foot. It's hard, it's work. Just try. Switch directions. Notice what's going on in the rest of the body. Is it comfortable? Beautiful. Nose into the knee, round in. And then stretch that leg out again. Out behind you. Turn the toes out to the left and then bring that leg forward. And tap the foot to the floor. Do a little cat and cow here. Excellent. And then let's start to crawl ourselves down to that left leg. Inhale, sweep yourself up into a lunge. Exhale, both hands find the floor. We'll step the back leg. Are we at the back of the mat? So make your way back to the front of the mat if you are, because I'm moving all around here. I don't even fold forward. Inhale, let's roll ourselves up. Press down to the floor, lift the palms together. And we'll slide our hands down to the center of our hearts. Lift your heart up into your hands as you inhale. Keep the heart lifted. Release your hands. And just from that little flurry of activity through the hips, notice if you feel grounded from the hips down to the feet. And if you do, then start to really accentuate it. If you don't, you can take your hands to your hips to feel the hips rooting down through the feet. And then from that, lengthen up through the crown of the head. Again, trying to find length from the tailbone up through the crown of the head that's straight. All right, so let's start some sun salutations. Inhale, we'll lift the arms up over the head, palms together. Exhale, we're gonna fold forward. Hands to the shins, lengthen. Hands to the floor, step back and into your plank pose. Let's continue with that, lifting the hips up, coming back into downward facing dog or puppy starts with your knees bent. Really planting the hands as we inhale and come forward. Press out to the heels and out to the crown of the hips. Come forward, let the heart melt between the arms. One more time, bend. Lift the hips, sits up, the sit bones up. And then all the way forward, melting the heart. And this time, as you roll yourself a little forward, if you want to come all the way down to the floor. We're just going to do one cobra this time, maybe even coming up into upward facing dog. Exhale, you can come into downward facing dog. Hold your dog for 3 breaths. So set your hands up for the first breath, kind of get yourself comfortable. And then for the next 2, feel the energy kind of drawing in through your inhale to the soles of the feet, to the palms of your hands, lifting your hips up a little higher. Feel your upper arms draw back, with the back of the neck be long. As you inhale, we're going to lift your heels up nice and high. Exhale, bend your knees, and then make your way back to the front of the mat. Fold forward. Press down to the floor. Let's make our way up. Bring the palms together, and then we'll slide the hands down through your heart. Heart up into your hands as you inhale. Keep the heart lifted. Release your hands. Exhale. Let's do it again. Inhale up, palms together, look up. Exhale, we'll fold forward. Hands to the shins, lengthen. Hands to the floor. If you want to shoot back now into chaturanga, you can. So your knees are bent, your head is reaching forward. And as you hop, the heels reach away from the head, bend your elbows. Inhale, roll yourself up through cobra. Or upward dog. Exhale, down, up. This time don't move, just stay where you are. And settle. Notice the body's almost maniacal, what's the word, desire to move, right? Just to stay still is hard for the brain, hard for the body. Can you do it? We'll lift our heels up nice and high. Exhale, bend the knees, look forward, make your way back to the front. And fold. Take an extra breath here as you lengthen flat back. And as you exhale and fold again, maybe you're a little deeper. Press down to the floor, hinging from the hips, we roll up. Palms come together. Exhale, hands to the heart. Heart up into the hands as you inhale. Keep the heart lifted, release your hands. Exhale, let's do one more. Inhale up. Exhale, fold forward. Hands to the shins, lengthen. Hands to the floor, making your way through a vinyasa, whatever that means to you. And then finding your downward dog to settle into. How can we increase our energy just being in this pose? How can we find the stillness and ease? All right, so we're going to come forward again. And we're going to come all the way down to the floor. Let the head touch the floor. Take the arms back behind you. And starting with your hands just resting on your sacrum, lift your shoulders up and feel the bottom tip of the shoulder blade reach the heart forward. Now we're going to spin the palms to face each other, maybe grab hold of the palms. Now that doesn't work, just stay in this position, lifting those shoulders up. If this works, go for it. Start to slide the hands down towards the heels and reach the heart away from the tailbone. Belly in, press the pelvis into the mat. Maybe lift your feet off the floor. Maybe lift your arms off your back. Hold, breathe. 2 more breaths here. We're going to start to slowly release the hands, which want a boomerang. So we're going to slow that down. And we're going to reach the arms forward. And then we're going to bend the elbows up, planting the hands right beside the breast, loop the shoulders. And as we peel up, come up onto the tops of the feet and maybe lift the thighs up. So nice long back for an upward facing dog. Exhale, roll yourself through downward facing dog. And let's rub our feet in a little bit so it's a little bit easier. Let's also walk our feet together. So if you don't want to do this version, you can come back down into this one. We're going to do this kind of movement again. We're going to take our right leg and lift it up. We're going to bend the knee. The heel is coming in towards the bum. The left hip wants to splay out to the left. We're going to hug it in. Actually, think about both hips hugging in. Both upper, outer arms reaching back as the heart reaches towards the wrist. Keep moving the knee round and round. Switch directions. Beautiful. And then draw the nose in towards the knee. If you want to come forward into hanging plank, it just makes it a little bit more work for the upper arms. Stretch that leg all the way up and back and reach it back behind you. Now drop the heel so it's lined up with the hip, a little lower. Point the toe. And here you can watch your foot make a circle. Upper outer arm still reaching back, outer hip still drawing towards each other. Switch directions with that foot. Beautiful. Let's take it up, reach it away from the hands. We'll take it forward towards the right thumb. Inhale, let's come up into a lunge. Sweep those arms up. Let's bend that back knee, take a little break, although in the break, as we hug the hips towards one another, we can get a nice little quad stretch. Beautiful. One more breath up here. If you want to start to straighten that back leg, you can. Let's come to the floor, hands to the mat. Step back, downward facing dog. One more leg to do. So setting your feet up, setting your hands up, upper arms back, heart melting towards the wrist reaching up and away from the floor. We'll take that left leg up, draw the heel in towards the bum. And then circles, right hip hugging to the midline, left hip also hugging in. Stay with your breath here, reaching the hands down and away, switch directions with the foot. Excellent. And then draw the knee in towards the nose. If you want to come forward, you can. Hold. And then stretch that leg all the way up and back. And then just drop it so it's more lined up with the hip, then lifting up on a diagonal from the shoulders. Point the left toe. Watch that foot make a circle. Switch directions again. A lot of arm work here, yeah? All right, let's look forward. We'll take that leg all the way forward, plant it. And here, relief. You can bend that back knee. Beautiful, lift that heart up. One more breath up here. If you want to start to straighten that back leg, you can. Exhale, take the hands to the floor. We're going to step forward. Plant the both feet and fold. Take your hands to your feet, just give them a little warm up. And then as we start to roll ourselves up, keep your mind's eye on those feet, really planting down so you can feel as if you're literally rolling up and away from the floor. Once the arms and knuckles grab hold of the wrists or the right wrist over the head. And lengthen here from your feet all the way up through that right hand. And we're going to start to slightly lean back. So right shoulder stays lined up with the left as you start to stretch through that right side. Breathe. Beautiful. Let's inhale, come back up. Release the hands. Do a big shoulder roll. Maybe a shoulder roll with the whole arm. And then we'll lift back up again, grab hold of the left wrist. Lengthen the heart up towards that hand in the air. Feel the left foot root down. And we'll stretch over towards the right. One more deep breath in. As we inhale, we'll come all the way back up. And again, we'll release the arms, do a bit shoulders. And then if you want to do a big arm. Inhale, lift the palms up, look up again. And exhale, fold forward. Hands to the shins, lengthen. Hands to the floor, head to the floor. We're going to bend our knees, pull our seat back, pull our shins back, and sweep up into either Uttanasana with your arms just forward, or starting to reach up and away from the tailbone. Hold. Nobody likes this. Who wants to stay in a pose like this? Well, notice what it's doing. Feel the work in your glutes, in your legs, in your calves, through your upper arms, through your heart. The breathing becomes a challenge. Just stay with it. So this again is that idea. So where we can feel ourselves in the pose, but we can also be aware of us feeling ourselves in this pose. Try to come at it from that angle. See if you can stay one last breath. And then let's fold forward. Hands to the shins, lengthen flat back. Hands to the floor again, moving through whatever vinyasa suits your fancy today or at this moment in this. And let's take our right leg forward. Inhale, we're going to sweep up. And then exhale, let's bring our hands to the floor as we make our way into warrior one. So the back heel spins in, toes face out, there's some space between the heels. Take that right arm, wrap it around to the hip, reach that left arm forward, and let the back of the neck lengthen out to that left thumb. Now notice where your hips are and try to hug them back towards the midline. Beautiful. We're going to release, or start to feel our heart being drawn up back behind us. Keep that front knee bent. And then pulling the legs towards each other, reach that right arm up. Palms together, look up. Exhale to the floor. Moving through vinyasa, and if you're tired of vinyasas, then downward facing dog pose. One last breath. And then we'll take that left leg forward. Inhale, we'll sweep up into a lunge. Beautiful. Both hands come back down to the floor. We'll switch into warrior one. Left hand wraps around, right arm reaches forward. Anchoring that back foot. Feel that anchor as you reach forward. Feel how it connects to the right foot. From here, lift through the back of the heart. Release that left arm, both arms come together, over your head. One last breath here, maybe bend that front knee a little bit more. And then exhale to the mat. Step back, through your vinyasa, and then child's pose or downward dog, 3 breaths. Either one of the poses, you're taking the time to settle. Feel the body and the breath move together to recharge. Whenever you're ready to come up into downward facing dog, do it. If you're not, feel free to take a vinyasa or like a serious, one of the sun salutations off and just relax. It's okay to do things like that. That you're on your mat at all is the wellness. All right, we'll lift our heels up nice and high. Exhale, bend your knees, look forward, make your way to the front of the mat. Fold forward. We'll come into Uttanasana as we inhale. Exhale, hands to the heart. Uttanasana. One more time. Sweep down. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. Hands to the shins, lengthen. Hands to the mat again. Sun salutations if you want. Right leg's going to come forward. We're coming up into a lunge. Take an extra breath up here, bending that front knee. Reaching that inner left heel back behind you. Exhale, both hands to the floor. We'll flip into warrior one this time, just right away up. And then let's take those hands back behind us. Let's have our left thumb on top. Feel the hands sliding down the left thigh, lifting the heart up. And then let's exhale, we'll fold over that front leg, coming into a humble warrior. Breathe. Beautiful. One last breath here, really anchoring down through those feet again. We're going to release the hands and come all the way back up. One breath up here. On your exhale, we'll move back and through vinyasa or not. Left leg comes forward. We start in the lunge. Take an extra breath up here. Feel yourself in this lunge. What's it doing for your mind? Exhale, both hands to the floor. We're going to sweep or turn our back heel in again. It's a whole warrior one without the extra help. We know what we're doing now. The body is prepared. Extra breath. And then we'll take our hands back behind us, interlace the hands, right thumb on top, loop the shoulders into the shoulder girdle, lift the heart, and then we'll fold forward, hugging the hips towards the midline. Back of the neck gets long, and the arms to lift up and over your head. All of this extra. Oh, if you have low blood pressure, and you find as you get up, you get dizzy, as you come into the pose where your head is supposed to be lower than your heart, lift your ears up a little bit so you can stay in this pose. All right, let's release. As we come all the way back up, one last breath up here. And then we'll make our way back down to the floor through a vinyasa. Downward facing dog, or you can come into child's pose. I'm going to take my right hand as I connect my left hand. Let me start, I guess, with my right hand. I'm going to start with my right hand, really rooting into the floor, really rooting into the shoulder blade. Up arm, I'm kind of drawing down and back. Then I'm going to start to slide my left hand to the center line. And if it's available to me, I'm going to grab hold of my right outer leg and start to walk down, getting into a little stretch. Breathe. Beautiful. All right, sliding that hand back down and forward. Connecting the shoulder into the shoulder girdle, right hand slides back. And then towards the outside of that left leg, hold. Excellent. Sliding that hand back. Inhale, lift the heels up high. Exhale, bend the knees, make your way back to the front of the mat. And fold. Bend your knees, sweep up Uttanasana. Exhale, Tadasana. Heart up into the hand, keep that heart lifted. Release your hands, take a moment here. Notice what's going on inside that body of yours. How's that breath feel? Where's your mindset? Are you still actively participating in this practice, or has your mind moved on to what's after this practice? Really interesting to recognize that, especially for injuries. And so if you are already beyond the practice, either come back in or take a rest. All right, let's do one more set of sun salutation B. Bend your knees, sweep up, Uttanasana. Exhale, fold forward. Plant the hands, either walk, hop, step back, moving through Vinyasa. Right leg forward, right away up into warrior two. So take a look, back heel is lined into the center line, but there's space between the ankles, sweep up. And let's open up and come into warrior two. Let me watch. All right. Let's get those arms nice and strong today. Pull the right shin back towards the left foot. Pull the left foot back towards the right foot. Okay, let's lift the arms up. And start to reach the hips all the way up through those fingers. And then sink that front leg as you pull the legs towards each other, sink the hips a little lower. Hold. Inner thigh of the right leg reaching towards the center of that right foot. Buttocks tucking under the help. Beautiful. Exhale, we'll release the hands. Let's come into Parsa. Now, if you want to come into triangle pose here, that's up to you. Same thing. Two more breaths here. Really rooting down through that foot, really reaching up through the head. All right, coming back up, warrior two. Nice. Unplug that back heel. This is balance. Let's take that right hand onto the right thigh. And slowly, left knee can come to the floor. Left elbow is going to reach over and hook to the outside of that right leg. So if this is way too much, just drop that back knee to the floor. Look up at that right elbow. Lengthen from your back heel through the crown of the head or the back knee through the crown of the head. Beautiful. Let's look down, take both hands to the floor. We're going to lift that left leg up in the air. Standing splits. Now start to feel the inner left thigh lifting up towards the sky. That'll keep the hips hugging in towards the midline. Maybe reach it up a little higher. If you want, draw your heel in towards your bum and then lift the knee up, and that'll really increase the amount of effort in that left glute. Right glute also active, right? All right, that should do it. Let's plug the hands, step that leg back, step the right leg back, move through it in Vinyasa. Downward facing dog. Let's take that left leg forward through warrior one. Exhale, we'll open up warrior two. Reach out through the arms. Pull the legs towards each other. So really feel that activation through the waist and down. And then start to feel the sides of the waist lengthening. And then if you want to add more, reach the arms up and you'll really feel the sides of the waist lengthening. Draw the bottom ribs back. Maybe sink a little lower as you pull the legs towards each other. Isn't it amazing the difference keeping the arms up over the head on your heart rate? Love that. Exhale, arms down. They actually say if you have high blood pressure, you should lift your arms up over your head. Right? And you can now know why. It's like, do you feel how much more? Okay, so we just drop it down. Take a couple more deep breaths. Come back to neutral. And then we're going to take that left elbow to the left thigh as we take that Right arm up and away from that foot, or if you did triangle on the first side, do it on the second as well. From that back foot, lengthen up and out to the crown of the head. Keep breathing. Notice your breath might be a little bit different than it was when it started, but you can have the same kind of mental thought of it. It's like, okay, so I'm just working harder, but it's there and it's long and it's smooth. And just make it long and smooth. All right, let's inhale, come back up. I'm gonna unplug that back heel, very tricky. Both arms lift up. And then left hand comes onto the left thigh. That's gonna slow down the action. Take that right elbow towards the outside of the left foot. You know you can drop the knee to the floor. Bring your hands into prayer. Lengthen from that back heel or knee out to the crown of the head. See if you can just be mindful of where your right hip is and don't let it follow you all the way around. Try to make the twist a little higher into the back. We're going to now look down towards the floor, plant the hands to the floor. I'm going to lift that right leg up, 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 standing splits. Let the hands drop to the floor. If you need to bend that knee, that's fine. If the floor is way too far, you're just like your hamstrings are screaming even with bent legs, come up higher. Now take all the support that you need to get into the pose so that it feels doable. We're going to draw that heel in towards the bum, and then we're going to lift that knee up higher so that not only do we feel our left glute engage more, we also feel the right one even higher. Beautiful. And then we're going to just sweep it back. Both hands to the floor. And move through a vinyasa. Nice work. Let's come all the way down and into child's pose. Well deserved. Take a nice big inhale here. And as you audibly exhale through the mouth, feel the whole weight of your body dropping a little deeper into the floor. Ha. Ah. Beautiful. A couple more breaths. Letting somebody in. People fall in and out of these classes sometimes because of internet. So, all right. So let's make our way back up, downward facing. Look forward, make your way to the front. And fold. Bend your knees, sweep up Utkatasana. Exhale, hands to the heart, Tadasana. Again, as we just kind of settle down from the hips down, we feel this rooting. From the hips up, we feel this lightness, lengthening us upward. Okay, so let's just we're going to do one little balance kind of work. Not that we haven't done a lot of balance already, but hey, we're going to press down to the left leg. We're going to take our right leg and lift it up. And then as we exhale, we're going to reach it back behind us, plant it. Start to maybe, so this is all dependent on how your knee feels. You can drop the knee towards the floor and then push into the left leg to lift that right knee back up. Beautiful. Exhale, bring it back. We're doing it 5 times. Down. Inhale, up. And I usually take a breath in between. Down, if you want to have the arms. And then push, up. 3 more. And last one. Beautiful. Let's take the left elbow towards the right knee. Squeeze. You want to take that right arm behind you? That's fine. You can also take it onto your sacrum. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. They don't touch, or mine don't touch. I guess I could if I really contorted myself, but I'm not looking for contortion. I'm looking for muscles being used in the obliques to hold me tall and twist. Beautiful. And then we'll release it. Shake out the legs. Second side. Left leg lifts up, inhale. Lift the arms if you want. Oh, no, sorry, we would be here. Exhale, take the legs back behind you. Sweep the arms up, maybe bend that back knee. Push into the right leg. Woo. Lift yourself up. So you notice sometimes balance isn't great. You gotta hug back to that midline. Then drop the back leg, sweep up. And exhale, squeeze. Beautiful. 3 more. Excellent. This is our last one. And from here, I'm going to either take my left hand to the sacrum or back behind me. Right elbow, left knee hugging towards each other. You're rooting down to that right leg, lengthening up to the crown of the head. Squeeze. Root down, lengthen up, squeeze a little more. Beautiful. And then release and just a little slow dancing with yourself. Okay. Legs wide. Well, as wide as your mat. I'm gonna reach our arms forward. We're gonna come to a squat from here. So you're gonna go as low down as it feels comfortable for you. Reach your hands forward, draw your hips back. So it almost looks like we're heading into the forest on a camping trip. Yes, I know, that's the feeling you want. You want to even feel your inner thighs kind of spitting back behind you. Keep the knees and the ankles lined up. Maybe pull the shins back a little bit more. And if it feels okay to drop the hips here, draw your elbows to your knees. Squeeze in. So as we press the elbows into the knees, we're going to get that nice stretch through the inner groin. Let's take the elbows, reach them forward, but keep the knees stretching out. Side body long. Pull the shins back a little bit. You shouldn't feel anything here. If you do, how can we get out of that? Come up higher. Yeah, I'm here. All right, so from here, reach forward. Let's have a seat. Shake with the legs. Nice, fold forward. All right, grab hold of your big toe, left hand onto your left thigh. Draw the shoulders into the shoulder girdle and feel your heart reaching towards the toes. We're just gonna keep pressing into the left leg until that right leg lifts up. Now, roll yourself more to the front of your sits bones and reach your heart beyond your toes. Breathe. Reach out through the big toe mound. Imagine that your foot is trying to fly away and your shoulder is pulling it back in. So the shoulders line up. You don't want the shoulder up forward. You want both shoulders lined together, heart lifted. Let's give ourselves a nice little IT stretch. So we're going to take that leg over to the left. You can hold on to it with the left hand. And here, just give that whole right side a nice big stretch. Press into the big toe mound of the right foot, into that hand, and lengthen. Beautiful. Let's bring it back up. And then coming down, let's go down the same way. So hand back onto the thigh, low back draws in and up, heart reaches forward. Excellent. And fold. Right hand plants onto the right leg, hold on to the big toe mound. So the more we root down through the right leg, the lighter the left leg lifts up. Once it lifts up, we tend to roll back, so I want you to roll forward, come to the front of your sits bones, and feel your heart make an appearance in the front side of the body. take that foot over towards the right. You can hold on to it with the right hand. Press the big toe mound into that hand and then stretch the whole left side. Sit up tall, give yourself a massage if you need to. Beautiful. Then we're going to bring that leg back up, sit nice and tall. We're going to switch hands again, take that right hand back to the right leg and push down through it, reaching the heart forward, low back drawing in and up as you slowly release that leg back down towards the floor. Nice and slowly fold forward. Beautiful. Inhale, we're going to come back up. We're going to bend our knees. I'm going to slowly roll ourselves down towards the floor. Have a block handy. Now let's come into a nice little supported bridge pose. So we're going to do it with our, let's do 2 blocks. Flush on top of one another. Press the feet into the floor to draw the hips up, and then find that your whole sacrum can rest on the block. Outer hips hugging in a little bit. Pull them out apart, draw the shoulders under a little bit more. Make sure that the neck is far away from the mat. So puff up the shoulders a little bit so that that takes the neck away, and then turn your chin up towards the sky. So we're going to press into the left leg. We can draw the right knee to our chest. And you can hold on to that knee if you want. You don't need to. Like, you can keep holding on to the edges of the mat. You can also, if you want, interlace your, well, it's kind of hard to interlace your hands with the blocks there. And then we're going to stretch that right leg up towards the sky. Press out through that right heel, toes towards the face. Big stretch to the back of the leg. Again, notice that the right hip is swung out to the right and draw it towards the front of your mat. Point the toe and flex. Point and flex again. And then we're going to draw that right knee back to the chest. You can hold on to it with your hands if you want again. Keep just make sure that the neck stays off the mat and draw it in. If you want here, you can even straighten that left leg, getting a little deeper into the hip flexors. But notice again where your hips have gone. If they've kind of splayed off, try to hug them back to the midline, draw your belly in. Beautiful. We're going to release that leg back down. Grab hold of the edges of the mat again and come back into position number 1. Make sure again that the whole sacrum is flat on the block and your tailbone is not dropping down towards the floor. It's actually, you know, if there was eyes on the tailbone, they'd be looking at your calves. Now press down through the right leg, take the left knee, lift it up. And then let's stretch that leg up towards the sky, pressing the heel away from us, toes towards us. And then point. And flex. And point. And then just reaching for a moment. You draw that left knee in. Again, you can hold on. Just keep the back of the neck off the mat. You can keep hugging in. You can also straighten that right leg if that feels available to you. Hug the hips towards the midline. Reach out to the inseams of the legs. Beautiful. Now we're going to bend both knees. So since the sacrum is very comfortable on this block, hopefully, and you feel balanced, you can lift your feet off the floor. If you don't want to do this, then you can do this one leg at a time again. Still great. But for those that feel comfortable coming into a supported shoulder stand, roll, pull the mat apart, lift the chest up, reach out to the feet, press into the back of the head. Breathe. I'm here for about 10, 15 more breaths. Try to feel your thighs drawn slightly away from your body. So there's more of a right angle with the hips, as opposed to the legs coming over the face. And actually, if you want to know why, so I can't look at you, so because, you know, in this pose, you want to keep your gaze just up towards the sky. You don't want to play around here with your neck when there's a lot of weight in the upper back. So just keep looking up, but you can follow me with my words. If you want to know why we want to draw the thighs back, start to reach your feet over towards your face a little bit, of course, comfortably, and making sure that your sacrum still stays on the block so you don't topple over. But with the feet coming over, do you feel a heaviness in your heart? So the weight drops into the lungs here. I don't like that. So as we reach those legs away, there's just more freedom to breathe. So once you find that freedom, of course, always take a moment to drop into gratitude of just like, oh, so great. I can breathe so much easier here. That's awesome. Breathing keeps me alive. I love breathing. I love it when it's easy. Just think of when you have a cold and that statement will become so much more true. Beautiful. All right, so that should do it. We're going to start to draw the knees back to the chest. You can take the legs down one at a time. Plant your feet. Your hips are going to feel heavy, which is fine. I just want you to pull the mat apart a little bit more, press into the feet, and feel the heaviness of the hips as you put the weight of your hips into your legs. And just slide those blocks out. Slowly, we're going to come back down towards the floor. And just lengthen out through the spine a little bit. Settle before you move. All right. So we're going to straighten out our legs here. We're going to bend our elbows and just chin to the chest for a second. Press the elbows into the floor so we come up kind of halfway. So this is another version of fish pose, trying to get some of you that I know don't like it to like it a little bit. So from this pose, point your toes. I'm going to flip my hands so my hands are holding onto my waist and draw the elbows in a little bit more. Here, loop the shoulders up and over and just lift the chest up. Keep the chin towards the chest and lift the heart. Now, if this pose feels okay, just feel the crown of the head reach a little farther away. Feel the shoulders still looping up and over, the bottom tip of the shoulder blade lifting the heart. Feel your hands pressing into your thighs. If you feel just uncomfortable through the neck, just keep the chest on the chin on the chest the whole time and just lift a little bit. Beautiful. And then we're going to slide ourselves back down. I'm going to draw the knees to the chest and hug them in. Just rock your hips a little bit from side to side. And inching your hips a little farther away from the shoulders. Now let's go into those hips one last time. See how we did. How smooth does the feeling of moving your knees around in this circle feel? Is it relief? Switch directions. Does your back feel like it's just completely letting go here? And then just draw the knees into the chest, give them a hug. Come into happy baby, so you can slide your hands down towards your ankles and lift your ankle or feet up and hold on to the outsides of the feet. Again, as you notice here, as the knees kind of drop down towards the floor as you lengthen from head through tail, do you feel as if the knees have a little extra space to go a little deeper? Or one way of also feeling it is, can you feel the belly rising and falling a little easier on the thighs? A couple more breaths here. You can wiggle around a little bit if you want. Slowly start to release the legs back down towards the floor. If you want to stretch the arms up over the head as you winch away with the legs a little bit, you can. You can just reach as the knees drop over to one side, the opposite arm reaches up and away. Big stretch through the waist. Release the arms as you spin back through center and over to the second side, and then reach the arms up again, holding on to the opposite arm. Beautiful. And then coming back through center again, head comes to middle. If there's any last poses that you want to do, feel free. You can make your way into Shavasana. You can also put on your extra layers. Once you find your way into Shavasana, let's just let go. And you can start by letting go through the hips, which feel heavy already. And feel the weight of the hips dropping down more, encouraging the legs to soften down into the earth through the back side of the body, feeling the shoulders drop down and subsequently the arms dropping down to the back side of the body. So feeling nice and heavy and warm arms and legs. Bring your mind's eye now to your torso. And with each exhale, just drop a little deeper in towards the mat. As you inhale, feel the torso widen on the mat like a puddle. And then as you exhale, feel the front side just drop a little deeper into that puddle. Nice and easy. Completely relaxed. Bring your mind's eye to all the muscles in your face. Make sure they feel completely soft. Today's daily Om is called How Fear Blocks Creativity. To understand how fear blocks creativity, take a moment to imagine yourself telling a story. First, imagine telling the story to someone you love and who loves you. You probably feel warmth and energy as you fill in the details of your tale to your friend's delight. Now imagine telling the same story to someone who, for whatever reason, makes you feel uncomfortable. The wonderful twists and turns, the fine points and colorful imagery that unfolded in your mind for your friend probably won't present itself. Instead of warmth, energy, and creativity, you'll probably feel the opposite sensations and a desire to close down. When we feel unsafe, whether we fear being judged, disliked, or misunderstood, our creative flow stops. Alternatively, when we feel safe, our creativity unfolds like a beautiful flower without conscious effort. Knowing this, we can maximize our creative potential by creating the conditions that inspire our creativity. In order to really be in the flow, we need to feel safe and unrestricted. However, achieving this is not as simple as avoiding people who make us feel uncomfortable. Sometimes we can be alone in a room and still feel totally blocked. When this happens, we know we have come up against elements in our own psyches that make us feel fearful. Perhaps we are afraid that in expressing ourselves, we'll discover something we don't want to know, or unleash emotions or ideas that we don't want to be responsible for. Or maybe we're afraid we'll fail to produce something worthy. When you're up against fear, internal or external, ritual can be powerful and creative as an antidote. Before you sit down to be creative, try casting a circle of protection around yourself. Visualize yourself inside a ring of light, protective fire, or angels, whatever works. Imagine this protective energy emanates unconditional love for you and wants to hear, see, and feel everything you have to express. Take a moment to bathe in the warmth of this feeling and then fearlessly surrender yourself to the power that flows through you. You're going to begin to deepen your breath. The energy starts to move through you. Encourage it by wiggling your fingers and your toes. Stretch on. Notice how great it feels to consciously move with the breath. Notice that great sensation. When you finish moving in all directions, you can roll yourself over onto your side and just settle in for a breath or two. Once you've taken a few moments on your side, noticing the transition. Noticing in this spot, all you have to do is feel, and the feelings are usually awesome. So thank yourself for coming today. When you're ready, you can make your way up to seated. Sit up nice and tall. Bring our hands to our heart up into our hands. Take a moment here for gratitude. Shift again into that space where you notice that, one, you're breathing well. How lucky are we that we breathe well today? Excellent. We're alive. That we were able to do a practice together. Another amazing feat of technology in these times. How lucky we are that we're not completely isolated. And any other reason that you come up with. And let them float in your head as we chant the sound Om, sending out this beautiful intention of love, peace, etc., to everyone, everywhere. Take a nice big inhale. Big exhale through the mouth. Inhaling to Om. And as we feel that reverberation connect us even deeper into the floor, we remind ourselves our thoughts should always be filtered through our hearts by bringing our hands to our head and then back to our hearts where they belong. Namaste. Thanks, guys. That was fun.
Thank you.
Hey.
Great class.